name is Claudette, and this is my first tutorial video. I want to show you how to do a chunky necklace on crocheted wire. And if you don't know how to crochet, there's a lot of different videos on YouTube you can find on how to do a simple chain stitch. That's basically all we're going to be doing today. We'll be crocheting beads onto wire. So the first thing I want to show you is the supplies you're going to need. I'm using this cousin's wire that you can pick up at either Hobby Lobby, Walmart I believe carries it, any 26 gauge colored wire, or you can get silver or gold or copper plated wire, non-tarnishing, which is also very good, so it won't tarnish. What I'm going to use today is the red 26 gauge. Two of the layers will be in the red and one will be in silver. I'm going to do 3 strands of crocheted beads. And the crochet hook that I like to use is a size J hook, just a regular aluminum crochet hook, and it comes out very nicely with this size. If you use a smaller size, it's a little more difficult to crochet with. Also, you will need wire clippers or scissors. And for the end, we're going to put a clasp, a toggle clasp. I have this pretty one I actually picked up at Walmart. It has some little crystals or rhinestones on it, and it's a toggle clasp with a heart. And you will need some crimping beads. When we get to the end, I'll show you how to do that. If you have a crimping tool, that comes in handy. And also some needle nose pliers. Okay, so that's the materials you need to get started. And also you will need some beads, obviously. So let me show you what those are. I'm going to be doing a red chunky style, and what you need for each strand is 15 beads. So I have 15 of just regular red, and these are just glass beads that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. And then I have some other glass beads for the second strand that I'll be using. These are those, I don't know, they're really pretty. I picked these up at Walmart, but they have some little designs on them, and they are glass also. You can also use plastic beads. Some of my beads are plastic. I'm using some, in this strand I'm going to be variegating silver and the glass red beads with the silver trim. And I'm also going to put a few of these crystal beads in between, which you can also pick up at Walmart or any of the craft stores. These are just some plastic crystal looking beads. You need 15 for each strand. So I have 15 clear crystal as well. And if you want to get fancy, you can use any kind of Swarovski crystal or any kind of stone also to do this with. So right now I'm going to teach you how to do the actual crocheting part. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to do is string our beads. So I'm just letting the wire stay on the spool and letting it fall, kind of unwind it a little bit. You're going to put 15 beads on the wire, and you can always variegate them if you'd like to, but they do come out variegated at the end because we are going to be braiding these when we get all the 3 strands done, and that's how you produce the chunky look. So just put the 15 beads on your wire, and I'll do that and come back when I'm finished. Okay, so once you have all 15 beads on your wire, you want to take your crochet hook and just measure about the length, maybe a couple inches longer than your crochet hook, and that's where we're going to do the first chain. I just basically loop the wire around my finger and bring it back through, just like you would be doing a regular chain. Let me show you that again. So you measure, sorry, my dog is scratching the floor. Here, let me put the beads up here. Okay, so you measure your crochet hook at a couple inches, wrap the wire around your finger, loop it through just like you do with yarn when you're crocheting. Bring the hook through and just pull it tight. Sometimes it's a little hard to get that loop tight. That's why I use the 26 gauge wire. It's a little more flexible. But it's okay, don't worry if your knot looks a little messed up. It doesn't matter for the finishing touch anyway. Okay, so then I just hold it just like I'm doing my yarn and just pull it through. You're going to do 13 chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me see. Let me tilt the camera so you can see better how I'm doing that. Turn the light off. I don't know if you can see it. Let me turn the light off completely. So we loop it around 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and there's your chain. Okay. Okay, I messed up a little. One more chain. I'm sorry, you need to have 13. Okay, and then this next step is very simple. You have all your beads here on the wire. You have your wire spool here. And all you're going to do now for the next chain after the 13 chains with no beads, you're going to slide one bead down. You're going to take your crochet hook and just wrap it up just like you're going to do a chain. Just put the wire around the hook, then pull it through around the bead. And that's your first bead that's chained. And then you want to do one plain chain between. So just loop your wire around, pull it through, then slide your next bead down. Let me show you that again. Wrap the wire around and pull it through the loop. And you've got your 2 beads on your chain, on your wire. And then you're going to do a plain chain between and slide down another bead and just continue on until all 15 beads are done. Again, pull it through. Sometimes it gets a little tight, just loosen the wire a little bit and pull it around the bead. Okay, so basically the wire is wrapping around the bead. Okay, and then do one more plain between, and then you're going to do that with all your beads. Okay, and I'll finish that and be right back. Okay, so I'm finishing up my beads here. I wanted to show you again on camera. So you slide the bead down, wrap the wire around, pull it through the loop. And don't worry about your chains or your loops being a little messed up. That won't matter either because, like I said, we're going to braid all 3 strands and it's going to look fantastic. This is a great simple project to do to use up extra beads you have, or just for a fun chunky necklace. You can also do them with smaller beads and make finer necklaces, which I'll show you at the end some other projects I've done. And I do have an Etsy shop where you can see my other work. But here's the last bead. We're going to do now the last 13 chains. Okay, so after your last bead, you're going to do 1 chain, then 2, 3. Let me show you this slower. I'm sorry. 4, 5, 6. Sometimes you have to unwind that spool. 7, I don't know if you could see this. Yes. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you're going to pull 13. You're actually going to do 14 because you want to pull the last one through and knot it. So you're going to pull that one all the way through. Measure again about the same distance with the 2 inches. Pull that through. Clip it with your wire cutters or scissors. Wire cutters are not working. Use my scissors. And pull that through. And you will have a knot there. Okay, so now we have one completed strand, which is beautiful on its own, but wait till you see it with the other 2 strands. It's going to be amazing. So there's all your 15 beads with your crocheted chains in between, and we are going to move on to crocheting the next strand. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of the strand. I have all my 15 beads stranded on with the space in between, and now we're going to chain the end of our wire here. Sometimes you have to unspool it. This is also 26 gauge wire, but I did the silver wire now because I like the look of the variegated wires. When you put them together, you'll see what I mean when we get to that step. I'm going to do the last strand in the red wire again, so when we braid them together, they'll be red and silver and it'll look really pretty. So now I'm going to do my 13 chains on the other end. So 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, put that back in there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then you're going to actually draw through, so it's really 14, but by the time you pull that loop through and tie it off, it'll be 13. So then you just want to do that and get your scissors or your wire cutters. Again, I do the length the same on that end, cut it, and draw one loop tight. Okay, and there you have the end. Okay, so now we have our 2 strands, whoops, one with the chunky beads, one with the smaller glass beads. Some of them are smaller. And we're going to do the last strand with just the crystals, and we'll do that on the red wire. And then I'm going to get that ready because you don't need to be bored with that again. We're going to just put your crystal beads on first and then do the crocheted wire, crocheting the beads in, and then when I'm done with that, I'll show you how to braid the 3 strands together for that step. Okay, so I will be back. Okay, I am back with my 3 strands. I did the crystal ones. Again, you have the 15 beads per strand and the 13 chain, the plain chain stitches on each end. And I have all 3 here. What I did was, since I have 2 on the red wire, I put those on the outside and the silver wire in the middle. Don't worry that your beads are all even. What we want to do now is braid them. So we're going to, what I try to do is just get the ends all matchy-matchy there with the chains, and then just start braiding the beads. And you'll be amazed at how beautiful it ends up, the variegated look. So I'm going to try to do this on camera as best I can with my whiny doggy. Okay, once you get the 3 strands there with the chain edges, you just want to loop the wires around, just twist them to get the one end to hold. And then I'm going to put the camera up a little so you can see. So I'm going to hold these up like this, and then I just start braiding them. So you have your silver in the middle, just like you're braiding, just loop over the red, the silver. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just doing a simple braid. Let me get the camera in closer. So see how you just take them and go ahead and braid them. Okay, so one over the other in a braid. Okay, you're just going to do that all the way down. Let's see if I can get the camera to show you there. I'm braiding the 3 strands together right now. So we're getting to the end where the beads are. You just do the chain stitches, braid those together after you twist your end of your wire. And then got to kind of finagle your beads because they do kind of get tangled together. So just, fix them and then keep braiding. Okay, now we're down to the bead part. This gets a little tricky, but it can be done. I've done many of these, so. Okay, so now we're at the bead part. So we want to just start braiding with the beads in place. Okay, so see how I'm taking the beads and intertwining them between and braiding them. Braiding the strands together. It's going to come out absolutely gorgeous when we're finished. It looks kind of like a mess right now, but when you see the finished product, these are beautiful, and you can do so many different things with the crocheted wire beads, so many different variations, which I will be putting on YouTube, also my catalog and my website, so you can see all the different ones I've done. I've done more than what's in my catalog and my website, but you can get an idea. Okay, so I'm basically just going right over the beads. We're going to come out with a gorgeous necklace when we're done. So just keep braiding, and whatever beads you do, if you're doing the smaller beads, it's a little bit easier, but I like the chunky look, so that's what we're going for here. And these make awesome gifts too. And if you do them as a choker, I think they look better in the chunky, but some people like the longer lengths, so I have those also. Okay, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty here. Just keep braiding, and you can undo this if you think it's too chunky and you want to make more space between the beads. You can do that too. You can do it looser instead of as tight as I'm doing it. But also, if you want to make it longer, you can put 2 spaces between your beads instead of just 1 chain stitch like I did on this, or just use smaller beads. Okay, so we're getting almost to the end now. It's okay if you have one strand that's has a little bit more beads than the other. We can fix that at the end. But just keep braiding, and then when you get to the chain part, just keep braiding that. Now it's going to be a little bit shorter on this side because looks like I had more crystal beads on this end, which you can always add more crystal on this side if you want. You can wire them in over here on your end, so we're not going to worry about that. Just going to go ahead and finish braiding, and then I will show you how to finish the piece when we get there. If you have some wire here, it's okay. You can always add a chain length in here later to finish it off. Kind of glad that happened so I can show you how to fix it too. Okay, so I'm going to the end here. I'm not that happy with this because my silver chain ended, but I'll make a silver piece and put it in there. I don't know why that came out so short, but anyway. Okay, so as you can see, we have one shorter, though the silver came out shorter. I'm not sure why. But we're just going to do that right up to the end. And like I said, I'll show you how to fix that later because that does happen sometimes if you have different size beads. Okay, so there is the finished product there as far as the chunkiness of it. I'm going to take my scarf off and show you how that will look. When you get to the end though, you're just going to go ahead and twist your wires, and then I'm going to show you how to put the toggle clasp on and how to finish the wires so that they don't scratch either. But like I said, we are going to crimp bead those ends so that they won't scratch. Okay, so I've cut my end here where the short wire was, and we'll still have enough room to put the toggle clasp on because we'll have to bend it. So you want to make this side match. So we're going to see where this wire ends and make that match. And let me make sure I'm still going to have enough room. Yes, I will. Okay, so we're going to cut that. I leave a little bit of length there. Cut that end. And so we have the 2 matching ends. Okay. Now what you want to do, you've twisted your wires. And I twist them a little bit tighter. And what I like to do is put the toggle clasps on first before I crimp. So it doesn't matter which side you put it on. But I'm going to put the clasp on this side. And this is such a beautiful clasp. So you want to figure out how long you want it and then just put your toggle clasp on one end. And you're just going to kind of twist the wire around, and then we're going to finish the end in a minute. So twist that, and just leave a little bit because we're going to put a crimp bead on the end. So see how that's twisted, and I have the end there, and there's the toggle clasp. Then on the other end, we are going to do this other side, and twist it. Make it a little bit longer there. Okay. Rue, I am telling you, this dog. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and leave that end there. and I'll be right back and show you how to finish it off with the crimp beads. Okay, I'm back to show you how to put the crimp on the end. So you have on the end of each side the 3 wires, which if you get them twisted together good, it's much better. And then you want to cut them evenly too. So I'm going to cut these a little bit better, make them more even so they fit on my crimp bead. And you want to get crimp beads that are going to fit, obviously. But I just get my, what do you call these? I'm sorry. My wire thingies and pick those up with those. And then I have my crimp tool, which is really helpful. So with the crimp tool, you want to get that crimp going on, press it down in the middle of the crimp bead wire thingamajiggy, and then the first slot, these have different slots. You want to use the first top slot to lay it back down on top. So then you want to squeeze it with the top notch. Okay, so make sure that's secure. Okay, and then I have a little bit of wire left, so I'm going to take my little tiny scissors and clip that. Okay, so then I just take that and twist it around there. And then I take my needle nose pliers, that's what they're called. Oh, my crimp just fell off. Well, that wasn't good. Okay, well, you get the idea. And then you crimp it down once with your needle nose pliers. Okay, so I'll do the other side. Hopefully that'll turn out better. And then I'll fix that other side later. And then you're basically all done. Let me do that one more time so you can see it. Twist my wires. Clip them one more time evenly. Get my needle nose pliers, put the crimp bead on, and this time hopefully I'll crimp it better. So you want to crimp it with the middle slot. If you have a little bit of wire sticking out, don't worry, you can clip that later. So there, that's a better crimp. And then the top notch, crimp it down. This crimp might be too big for those 3 wires, the crimp bead. Okay, so that one's going to hold. And then I'm going to clip my wires because I have a little bit on the outside of it. And then once again, just twist it over and crimp it down so it doesn't hurt you when you're wearing it. And there you go.